Okay, so working with Mocap, it is so great and it's so easy, but a lot of times it's hard to get it to do exactly what you want. Like I'm recording Mocap for these pilots here, and I want them to sit on the bike, but I also want the bike to be able to affect them, a little bit. I want to be able to tweak stuff, have a final animation pass that kind of integrates the two animations. And it turns out that's not very hard. So I spent like the first 14, 15 years of using Blender, doing everything I could to avoid proper rigging or constraints. And it turns out maybe I shouldn't have, because if you already know basic rigging, this might be boring. But okay, so we have a leg here, and then I'm gonna hit Shift A, add another bone. This is gonna be the foot. It's not connected to the leg because I want it. The foot is just its own thing, and we have the leg connect to it. So now we're gonna go into pose mode with this selected. Shift click on that, and then hit Shift I. And look at that, we've got, yeah, that's it. It's IK. You can do so much rigging just with this, and you can do other stuff if you want. Like you can have you can have a zigzag all over, and then you Shift A creates a new bone, and boop, and you can just turn. This controls how long it is by 0. 0 is the default, and it's the entire chain, but you can also be like, just do the first couple, and it does that, and it's very easy to start rigging stuff. So we're gonna use that to help us attach this person to the bike a little bit. So I'm going to bring in some animation here. The chase, I just recorded this, and here we go. Oh, it already has some old animation on there, so I might delete that. Delete keyframes. It's still holding on to it. Well, that doesn't matter. But yeah, this is the animation we want. So in the action editor here, I'm gonna call it chasing the ball, and make sure this person also has that same animation. And now they're both doing the same thing. Great. Delete that. And maybe do an initial lineup onto the bike here. And that works okay. So what I want to do is I want to get the feet planted on kind of pedals, and maybe attach one of the hands as the video goes through. At first, they're swinging. Oh, I have this flipped. They're reaching after the ball, trying to catch it. And at the end, they explode. Very realistically, if you're ever gonna explode, this is the proper position, in the proper face, accepting oblivion. Okay, so how do we do this whole IK thing? Well, first thing we're gonna do is go into pose mode. Gonna select that bone, and I'm just gonna delete all of those keyframes, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the other one. And then go into, I guess, go into edit mode. I'm gonna hit Alt-P to make sure that these aren't still trying to follow, the rest of the bones. Just clear parent, they're now doing their own thing. At some point we'll probably get a weird translation issue as they are blasted somewhere else, but we'll find out in a second. Go back into pose mode. Yeah, there we go. So we'll just slide these back to somewhere that kind of makes sense. We don't even have to be perfectly exact. We'll just get close. Okay, because now we're just going to do that same thing we did. Shift click on that, Shift I. Hey! Click, click, Shift I. Look at that. And now those feet stay planted. And the very cool part is that we can also still move the body around. Oh no, we can't just yet. Okay, so I want to get a little bit more control. So I'm actually going to parent these feet to a pedal. So let's add an empty. Maybe I'll actually model a pedal eventually, but for now I'm just going to use an empty cube. Stick it down there near the feet. Parent it to the cycle here, and go back into pose mode. Select our control bone, and we're going to set up a new bone constraint under here. So just say you are a child of this empty, and it flings it into oblivion. So we're going to say set inverse, and that fixes it. I don't know what that does, but it fixed it, so I ask no questions. Cool. Okay. And so now we can kind of, maybe we separate the legs just a little bit here. And, but now, look at that. We can kind of tweak all of this, and we can get a bunch of control now. Like, look at this. As it's going, we can have it. Okay, this is as she's getting situated. But yeah, you can, like, and it just tries to solve it still. Like, that's so handy. Obviously right now I think this rocket's slightly too big to straddle, so I might raise this up even more and maybe kind of rotate. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Slide this a bit forwards. Okay, so let's keep going. I tried to keep this hand right here fairly stationary as I was going, but obviously it didn't do very good, and I want it to be grabbing kind of like a handlebar type thing. So we're gonna do this the exact same way. Tab into edit mode here, hit Alt P to clear parent, so now it's just its own thing. Go back into pose mode. Oh, that makes sense. Let's stick it over here, I suppose. Woo! And then shift click on that, shift I, there we go. And you can see right here, it's doing some fun stuff. It's this IK goes all the way down to the hips, and so it blends it with the mocap a little bit. So you get to decide, maybe you only want it to be the arm, or like the arm and the shoulder that absorbs that. But okay, let's parent this to this empty here, the control handlebar, child of empty. Whoa! Set in verse, and cool. And we'll parent this to this object too. And now we can also have it steering. Maybe we do go a little bit further. Yeah. So now is there? They can still be driving as. Wait a second. Why doesn't that work? Oh, the influence. I want the influence to be 1. There we go. Okay, and yeah, now they can still be like doing that, and this can be like going and like woo, having to be in all the awkward jockey positions. Kind of fun. Go through the jet engine, come back out. It's a power maneuver. Okay, so in theory, I should just be able to. I don't know. So I have the influence going here, copying the empty, and maybe, let's see, can I just turn these off and set in verse? Will that make things funky? I made this video a little prematurely because I was so excited. But in theory, I could just add another child of constraint and have it be, you know, left forearm. Whoop. I think set in verse again, and if I turn this off, hopefully I could animate and, you know, keep that original motion. But that doesn't seem to be working. But at any rate, this has been very cool just for cleaning up motion and getting it so that I can make stuff do what I want without having to get perfect mocap. And it also is good for, like, I don't know, just attaching objects to people and people to objects. I can attach backpacks and things if you want to add like a crazy cube backpack. This is just random, but it's fun to attach things to people. So that, and then shift click on that. If you can't just parent it to the object, because then it'll go wherever this, it goes wherever this goes, but it doesn't care about any bones. So Alt P, we'll click on this and then go into pose mode with that still selected. And let's attach it to that one. Control P, parent to that bone, and now she has a cube on her, and that's the same way I did the helmet. Woo! It just is attached to one of those bones. And so I might add weird pads and things all over, kind of using that same method. But yeah, now I can animate all of that, and it just gives me a lot of ways to tweak stuff really easily with minimal effort. So yeah, hopefully that's some sort of useful.